So I was thinking about Ice Spice the other day, which is not something I do often. I should clarify. She was one of the top artists on my Spotify Wrapped in 2023, which is, in hindsight, embarrassing considering how much she's fallen off. I mean, it was embarrassing then too. Not embarrassing in the sense I was embarrassed, but like, oh god, like really, like out of all the artists I could have listened to the most, it was Ice Spice. Like that's a little bit strange, but I was thinking about her the other day because I forgot that I guess like you can follow artists on Spotify, so you're alerted when they release new music, and she released the deluxe version of her flop album Y2K, and I it was just like this psychic memory of her career was just shot into my brain, and I was like, wow, Ice Spice, she's a real musician still who still releases real music that goes out into the real world. Crazy. But I was thinking about her because in hindsight, I mean it's December 2024. Munch was released August 2022, and it's like she speed ran having a career in it would be 2.5 years, yeah, 2 and a third years, really, which is crazy. And I was talking with a friend about this, and the timeline for it is very crazy because she releases Bunch end of 2022 or second half 2022. She releases Bikini Bottom, and then her debut EP like January 2023. She then released Boys a Liar Part 2 with Pink Panthers a month after that in February 2023. She then does the Princess Diana remix with Nicki in April of that year. She is then on the soundtrack of probably the biggest movie release this decade for the Barbie movie. She's on that soundtrack. She then releases the deluxe version of her EP, like, in July, which was still very well received. Even the deluxe version was still, people liked it. She then starts her fall off January of this year with the "Think You the Shit" song, and then she has a couple of really bad singles after that, and then releases her album July of this year. And that's just such an insane timeline of just a career. And I think what I was talking about with this friend, what started the conversation was that I messaged them that I don't know of a single artist where a single song or feature has given them so much goodwill or extended their career so long. And I mean, even in the modern day where it seems like everything is shortened so much, it's not like we're waiting. Well, for some artists we are waiting years for a new album, like a decade in some cases, Rihanna. But in our current media landscape, everything is so fast now in terms of new releases and everything. But with Ice, it's like Boys a Liar Part 2, that feature, it seems like extended her career so much, or it at least allowed her to release so many flops before she became disliked. So, I mean, Munch, I mean, people liked. Bikini Bottom, I think people tried to, have that be the start of her flop era, but she leaned into the meme very well, and I think turned that into a positive. And then the Like EP was very well received. And when I don't mean necessarily critically, but people liked it a lot. I liked it. And then so then we got Boys a Liar Part 2, and that song, I mean, it blew up so much. It was huge, and it became, sort of a meme in the sense of her verse was, you know, uh, quoted a lot, and people liked it. Still a little bit ironically, but I mean, it I do think that song gave her at least another 6 months or a year of people being willing to to tolerate flops from her before it turned into a negative. And to an extent, I was thinking about it. Even Princess Diana remix after that was still very good, and people liked it, and it was a good song. The song for the Barbie soundtrack, it was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't amazing, but I still liked it. I thought it was pretty well good. And then the like deluxe version with Deli, and Deli blew up a little bit. That was good. And so in hindsight though, so we've reached a point in her career now where Y2K, I think, to an extent, has buried her career. At least with Like, it was co-signed to an extent by people like Anthony Fantano, whose opinion does not matter to me, but it matters to a lot of men. And he giving it a moderately positive review, I think, gave her to an extent some credibility in her career. And so then to have him negatively review Y2K, and also the songs were not good. There were some songs on it. I don't think the album was as bad as people say, but a lot of the singles were terrible. Fat Butt, bad. Give Me a Light, bad. God, I don't even remember the other songs. Did It First was okay. It wasn't one of her best songs, but I guess at this point I'm doing sort of a career moratorium almost, but also I do want to think about like what exactly went wrong to an extent. Maybe not went wrong, but she is in her flop era right now. And how do you get out of that flop era for her? And I guess I'm also thinking to an extent where it all went downhill. And I think to an extent, the Nicki collab at the time, or picking the Nicki side in the Nicki versus everyone beef. And it might be that Ice Spice genuinely thinks Nicki is in the right, or wants to be her friend, or all of that. So I'm not saying that she did it to just for career reasons. I'm sure she actually likes Nicki Minaj a lot and is a barb. But I wonder if picking her side in this beef this was pre Megan beef, but I think, yeah, it was pre Megan beef, but Nicki was still beefing with everyone. And yes, collabing with her on Princess Diana on the Barbie World soundtrack, it gave her a lot of publicity and boosted her career a lot, but it also isolated her a lot in the rap space. And I wonder, I was thinking about artists who have done Nicki collabs this decade. It's like who have done Nicki collabs and have not who have picked her side and have not then beefed with her, because Nicki has done a lot of collabs with artists and then beef with them after. But I was thinking like Coi Leray, Bia. It's not a great group of artists in terms of publicity and in terms of actually being popular. Coi Leray, no one cares about anymore. She had her moment, but that moment's gone. People don't really care about Bia, and so really it was the only artist that people did care about that Nicki collabed with current year was Ice Spice. And yes, it boosted her, but it also isolated her, because something I was thinking about with the rap space for girls is how much it's very much a self perpetuating space. I was thinking, like Glorilla was on a song with Megan for Megan, and Megan then was on a song for Glorilla. And then, I think of someone like Flo Milli, whose solo music has been flopping a lot, but she's on a ton of features for a bunch of the other ladies in the space, and that's been great for keeping her name in the public sphere. No one really. I guess some of Flo Milli's recent songs have been popular, but people know Flo Milli really because of her features on other songs, because she's done a lot of really solid features. Someone like Lotto. Lotto was on a Megan song, and then Megan was on a Lotto song, and Lotto was on a song with, you know, who with Glorilla, and then JT was on a song with whoever. And it's very much like they all collab with each other, and it all keeps them popular. And that's something that Ice Spice does not have. She does not, because she's chosen Nicki, she does not have this ability to then be on a ton of features with the other ladies, because I feel like people who like female rappers, and they do deserve more credit, but people who like female rappers tend to like all of them, unless I guess you're a Barb, where you only really like Nicki, probably. But I mean, it's such a space where I think everyone loves everyone. And so not having the ability to go do some features and keep your name in the public consciousness is harmful for her career. And that's something where I think she's missing out on that. And that's something where I think, because I've really only seen Ice Spice do features on songs by men, I don't think, though, the target audience for those rappers is then going to go listen to her music, which is not really going to help her. And not only that, but I mean, of course, her lyrics, I think, the poop and shit bars were funny for a bit, and now they're not, and people are kind of tired of them. And I was watching the Anthony Fantano reviews of her albums, and something where I something he said that was really funny to me was, he said, um he was talking about a song, one of the songs, and Ice had apparently written a lyric about how she doesn't have a ghostwriter, and he said, "Yes, we can tell you don't have a ghostwriter." And I think that's something that is very funny but true, because bragging about having not having a ghostwriter and then writing shit lyrics, both pun not intended, I mean, it's not good. You need to write better bars, and they're really bad. It's funny to an extent when you write about having a fat butt and how men want to fuck you and how you would just pull tons of men. But I think something that other artists have been able to do well, especially in the female space, is, you know, Lotto has written serious songs. Megan, I mean, you just think of Cobra. I mean, Cobra really showed a lot of diversity in terms of what she can write about. I mean, she's always written, I think, good songs, and songs in moderately diverse topics, but she does have the ability to write about stuff other than having a fat butt. Megan does, and Ice does not, and that's harmful for her. And I think something else that I was thinking about was, I remember after the Like EP, the Like Deluxe version, I guess, was that people kept saying that she needed to do something else, that Ice needs to do something other than drill. She needs to show some diversity. She needs to, just not put out the same song over and over again. And I guess I agreed at the time to an extent, because yes, listening to the same song over and over again is not amazing, but at the same time, if the song is good, the song is good, and you shouldn't have to do something else if you're not good at it. And Ice Spice, I think something that's interesting about her particularly is that I think with a lot of the women in the space, that they are talented rappers. Even if you like their music or not, Megan the Stallion is clearly a talented rapper. Lotto is clearly a talented rapper. JT can rap. And Ice Spice cannot, or cannot rap well. And that's fine, because not everyone has to be the most technically proficient musician or artist or singer to be liked. You think of someone like Lana Del Rey when she first came onto the scene. She was not a fantastic singer, but she was unique. There have been musicians like who play physical instruments who are not the best, but have a distinct style that people like. And I think Ice Spice can be grouped in a similar way, although I do think she is a bit more, on the meme side in terms of not being a completely serious artist, which was to her benefit at the time. But point being, you should not have to branch out as a musician if you are not good at it. And if you try and branch out and you release bad music, that's only going to look bad on you. That's not going to look bad on anyone else. If someone says, "Hey, you need to branch out," and you're like, "Okay," and then you try and you release a song, that person does not get blamed for you releasing bad music. No one cares. The people who tell you to branch out and then you do and it flops are not going to say, oh, maybe I was wrong. They're just going to be like, use that as further evidence that you are bad at your job. And I think something that was really obvious on Y2K was that she did take that criticism to heart and she tried to do other stuff, and it was horrible. Not horrible always, but I remember one song, I think it was what, Fat Butt. She just copied, basically a Nicki flow, and it was bad because everyone was like, this is just a Nicki flow and you're worse at it. And they were right. And so, point being, I think Ice Spice should probably just stick to releasing funny drill music. It doesn't have to be the best, it just needs to be distinctively her style and be done well. And I think, part of the issue perhaps is just that she doesn't have the best team around her who's trying to get her to release the best music that is possible. And it shows, especially now we're in a period of time where there is so much music available, and especially in hip hop and rap. There are so many people, especially women, and I'm sure men too, but I listen to more women generally. There are so many women who are releasing good rap music. We're at a time where it's so easy to be an average musician. It's so easy to be, an average rapper when you can just, get a decent beat for probably not a lot of money or no money, rap over it and release it. And you as an artist have to be able to show something that makes you different than everyone else. And when you are doing what other people have done worse, people are not going to listen. And that is, I think, Ice's issue. And I was also thinking about how with her, she, it was interesting because with, when she released Bikini Bottom, there was a whole thing about how, oh, it sounds like a SpongeBob sample or beat on the song. And she leaned into that meme. And then I think it was funny to an extent when she was self-aware of, what people were saying about her and laughed it off and, did whatever with it. And then I think she got too aware of the memes and became self-referential, and it wasn't fun anymore. And I think of, the poop bars or whatever. I don't even remember what the first poop bar was with her. Might have been where she said something about what, Miss Poopy or whatever. Who cares? But, you know, when you then do a bunch of songs with poop bars, it's not funny anymore. People are like, this is kind of fucking weird. It was funny the first time. It 100% was. But you referencing the meme makes it no longer funny because then we're like concerned about you. And I think perhaps she was trying to compensate for not being the best rapper by, trying to be funny. But, you think of other, I guess, artists that have sort of been in that meme category of, Cupcake releasing all those songs about, deep throating and sucking dick and cock and whatever. But I think Cupcake still had a degree of, realness to her. Cupcake was still an artist outside of the meme. She still released other types of songs. She was technically proficient. She could write funny bars. She did not, she had her own lane that was Cupcake. And then you think of, I don't know, someone like Aisha Erotica, I guess, who was still a bit of a meme. You had, I guess I would say she was more on the comedic side of, you had songs like Vacation Bible School, Hardcore Anal Banging, Big Juicy, whatever, which were all very funny. But she still had her lane that she was in artistically that existed outside of the meme. And I don't think Ice Spice currently exists as an artist outside of the meme of Ice Spice that exists in the public consciousness. Not only that, but then I was also thinking, you think of someone like Cardi B, who I don't know her entire backstory. I know she was on, what was it, Love and Hip Hop or something. But she was a stripper, she was on reality TV, whatever, and then did rap music. And her first rap music was really bad. Well, not really bad. It was not great. And then she released Invasion of Privacy, and that was pretty good. And then she did a bunch of features, and those features, I mean, I listened to some of her recent features, like her feature on Tomorrow 2, her feature on Jealousy with Offset, even her verse on oh, was it Hot Shit? The song with Kanye. But she's very good. Like she has improved so much over time, and she was, I guess, not similar to Ice Spice, because Ice Spice did not really exist to us before her rap career. But you think of someone who has improved so much improved so much as an artist over time, and who has also had the public opinion of her change over time. When Invasion of Privacy was released, people did not really respect Cardi as an artist, nor did people really care about her, I guess, on the critical side, or internet music critic side, because publications did like her, but I was reading through online forums and whatever, and people did not like her, and people did not respect her. Mostly men did not respect her, of course. But you look now at whenever there's a song with a Cardi feature released or whatever, and people are like, Cardi ate this shit up. Cardi was so good. People look forward to and appreciate Cardi B's verses, um, because she has improved so much over time and become such a good rapper. And I think with Ice Spice, it's almost like she's regressed. And it's perhaps because we actually haven't seen her improve over time. I don't think she necessarily takes her music career 100% seriously, which is fine. Even someone like Cardi has, you know, disappeared from music periodically over time. But I do think Cardi put a lot of effort into developing a sound, becoming a better rapper, whatever. And Ice Spice is just sort of like, I don't know how much she cares, and she doesn't have to care. She's probably made her bag, and is like, whatever. That's totally fine. But if she wants to continue having a career, she at least needs to do something to be a better rapper, and to make better music, and probably, just stay in her lane. I don't In the current day, you don't really have to leave your lane. You can just stay in your lane, and do what you do over and over and over again, and you'll still have a dedicated fan base. It really just depends on how much money she wants to earn. But especially in the current day, I feel like you can sort of disappear for periods of time and just come back and be completely fine. You can do things to stay relevant. Um, and yeah, it's just tough, and it's interesting because having a birth and death of your career within a little bit more than 2 years is absolutely insane. The modern music industry is insane. But God, Ice Spice is just so interesting. She really is. And I think it's also just because her music is just not great. It's not great music. It's not bad, but it's not great. But she blew up so much. And that's insane. And that is insane. And, you know, good luck to her, I guess. But I guess we'll see in another in another year what whether she has revived or her career just completely fallen off. See y'all later.